Hey, welcome back to this channel again. This is the second video of provider state management series, and in this video we will create a very basic application by using provider. In last video we have discussed the introduction of provider state management, and we have discussed the components that we use in order to manage the state by using provider. If you have not watched that video yet, I will share a link in description box and I button. You can go there and watch that video too. If you are new here, I will request you to subscribe and like this channel. Now let's get started. So if you see here, I have a very basic application that is used to increment the value whenever we click on this button. So this application is basically using a SetState method. Here we have a simple function that is inc name, and it is basically incrementing the value by 1 whenever we click on this button, right? And here we have using this function. So this application is very very basic application that is used to just increment the value by 1. So if you see here, let me write a print check. So if you see here, whenever I click this button, the whole screen call automatically and rebuild this screen whenever we click this button. So at each button action, whenever we click on this button, this whole screen builds. That is not a very good practice when we talk about the performance of application and memory management, because whenever we call this button, whole screen builds, then it will utilize the memory, which will affect the mobile application performance. So at a specific moment, the application will crash if we use this method again and again. So in order to fix this issue, we use state management. So state management is used to basically manage the state of the application that is being called. So here now we will use provider state management in order to manage the state of over this application, right? So I will convert this very basic counter application to provider state management. So for that, I will import the provider package in my project. So you can import from there, and this is the current latest version that is currently working by provider, which is 6.0.5. So you can import in your project, and after importing, I have already imported in my project. After importing this in your project, I will create a class. I will create a folder called provider. You can name it whatever you want, and then I will create a file counter.dart, right? So here I will create import a library Flutter Foundation, and then I will create a class. You can name it whatever you want. I will name it counter, and then I will create a class with ChangeNotifier. So this ChangeNotifier is basically working as a set state of provider, right? If you are familiar with set state, you will get my point, what I want to talk about, what I want to talk you. So this ChangeNotifier is basically a set state. If you don't know about set state, so set state is basically a method that is used to update the widget state whenever a method that is calling by set state. So that method update the UI whenever that method is called, right? So ChangeNotifier is kind of a set state of provider state management. Now I will write a variable n, and I will assign a value n is equal to 0, and then I will write a get method, and then I will return my variable n, right? So I hope you will have an understanding of getter and setter. If you are not familiar with getter and setter, I will share a link of getter setter method in a video in my description box. You can go and watch that video, because I am not going to teach that method here. Our main focus is to manage the state of our counter application by using provider. So the next thing is create a function. I will name it increment, and then I will write n plus plus, right? And after writing n plus plus, I will write notify listeners. So notify listener is kind of a method which is basically notify to this class to update the state of the widget wherever this class is being called, right? So this notify listener is basically used to notify to this class to update the state of the widget wherever this class is being called, right? Now the next thing is we will come in our main.dart class, and I will import my provider library here, provider. And now I will write here return change notifier provider, right? So change notifier provider is basically access over change notifier, right, and update all the widgets wherever this change notifier is being called, right? So this is the purpose of change notifier. And then I will import dat counter class in this change notifier, right? So now after create that method here, the next thing is create a child. So in child we will pass this our material application material app, and in that I will pass this material app, right? And then the next thing is we will use this class in our widget wherever these two things are working. So I will write here final, and then I will create a variable name. You can name it whatever you want. I will say counter provider, and then I will write provider dot of context, right? So our job is done now. Now I will import my class counter, right? So this basically counter variable will access over this change notifier class, right? So I will remove this from here, and if you then I will write remove from here, then I will write counter provider dot n, right? And then we will write dot to string. So this counter provider is basically accessing the variable of over this class, right? So here this variable is accessing by this counter provider which we have declared here. And next thing is import the function. So I will import my function that was increment, right? So we have import this function here. I will update this restart this application again. So if I click this button, it is updating its state, right? But the issue is here, this whenever I click this button, this whole screen is updating again and again. That is not the part of our job, because SetState is also working SetState was also working similar. So in order to fix the issue of updating the specific widget state that how we can update a specific widget, just rebuild a specific widget, we use consumer. So in next video we will see consumer, that how we can rebuild just a specific widget in order to manage the state of application. So in this video we have seen that how to use provider and how to create and managing the state of our counter application by using provider. So I hope you will understand you will understand the things that we have discussed in this video. If you face any kind of issue regarding understanding, you can ask in comment section.